All right, welcome to episode 107 of the Card Diary by Hobbyist Thompson. I'm your host, Danny Cards, and I am so excited for today because this was supposed to happen about 2 weeks ago, and I had to get another friend to come onto this podcast as a last second emergency fill in. Today, we're going to have. I totally messed that intro up because in my head I was thinking about Brian and then Dakota. So Brian in episode 106 talked to us about opening up a new card shop in the DMV area in Herndon, Virginia. And in the YouTube title, it actually said episode 106 promoting a new card show with a baby on the way with Dakota. I had to change that for the podcast. I did end up changing it, but this is episode 107 with the same name of the episode, except episode 107. And so today we are going to have Dakota Storm Rips Cards from Instagram come on and talk to us about how he is being a new show promoter in this area in the DMV, in the DC metro area. It's called DC, Maryland, Virginia, DMV, not the Department of Motor Vehicles, like some people DM me about on Instagram. And so I wanted to, I'll have him introduce himself. I'm going to put him on the stage here. And before I do, I wanted to say Austin Hayes Collectors in the house. He says 6 minutes. He's here early. He says, you know it, Denny. He says, I really can't explain how good that Rip to Great series was. Thank you so much. That's really kind of you to say. And then Dakota is a great fill-in indeed. So let's go ahead and introduce here. Let me put you on the right-hand side here. Dakota, welcome to the podcast.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Denny. It's always a great time to be here with you to discuss our area and this amazing hobby that we're in. So thanks for having me.
So for folks who have been listening to this podcast for a while, you actually were in the military veterans in the hobby episode. So, I mean, it's easy to remember when it was because that was early November, given that Veterans Day was like November 11th, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so you were on with two others, Trent, Jet Breakers, and Living with LT. And so we did a little bit of background, but because it was like a group pod, we didn't really dive deep in. But since that time and prior to that, I got to know you through the local card show scene. Really nice dude. And you do have a card show coming up. You have your family's about to grow. And I just wanted to kind of like do long arc storytelling, sharing your story, not just today, but throughout this year. I just want to kind of get updates whenever it's possible, because you're going to have your hands really full really soon.
Yeah, 100%. I'm super excited to share this story of mine from just growing up and collecting cards and kind of taking a step back as I got older, and then just really rediving into it with my wife, and then hopefully a little girl when she's old enough to enjoy this. And just really excited to see where this road takes us, not only this year, but years down the road for sure.
So you do know the gender.
I do.
And when is the expected due date?
So the expected due date, I believe, I don't know the exact date. I know the month. I know it's the end of May. So I think it's like May 25th, May 23rd, somewhere around there. So it's coming quick.
Babies can always come early, late, and all that stuff. And so you know the gender. You are and your show. When is your show? Your first show ever?
So my first show we are hosting is March 1st of this year. So we are approximately like 2 weeks out, a little over 2 weeks, probably 15, 16 days out. So it's coming quick.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So we're going to get into the details of the show in a little bit. I wanted to give yourself an opportunity to introduce yourself a little bit. But some people were wondering last time you were supposed to be on and you weren't on. It had nothing to do with the baby coming early. We are 3 months plus from the baby being due. So I hope everything was okay with you family wise. I know it was like a last second. You were so apologetic. And I was like, I understand things happen. So hope everything is good on the home front. And so, just kind of let's dive into, you are a young fella. So I don't know how much, like it's not like you have like decades of experience in the hobby, but I want to hear about how you were as a small Dakota before you got to be adult Dakota.
Yeah, so at a very young age, I've always been invested in sports, playing baseball, playing football. So it was very exciting for me to just kind of see cards of the athletes that I really liked. I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I was a big Phillies fan growing up. I remember watching Ryan Howard tackle Brad Lidge when they won the World Series in 2008 and thinking that was the coolest thing ever. And so I really was really big into baseball cards back then when I was younger. And probably when I hit middle school, I kind of took a break from it, thought it wasn't really cool anymore, but I still
Mm.
had my binders kind of tucked away. And once I hit probably later in high school, when I was just about to graduate, I'd pulled them out, looked at them, and was like, wow, that what a nostalgic thing to look back on. And I had a couple buddies who still had their cards, and we decided to go through them one day and decided to say, hey, let's try to sell these on eBay. And we ended up making a couple bucks, and we're like, this is really fun. And once I graduated high school, I ended up working at a card shop from when I was 18 years old till I was 19 years old, fresh out of high school. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And the owner had to sell the store and then kind of fell out of it until probably I'd say 2 years ago is when I kinda got back into the hobby and just realized how much fun it is to rip cards and just share with other guys and girls what you pull and just how exciting it is when you still get your favorite player being almost 27 years old. So, that's been my kind of long story of how I started collecting to where I'm at now.
Awesome. And you do have a admirer in the chat. Michelle says hi, Dakota.
Michelle,
Um,
I know she's with Zach. I'm in a
okay.
bowling league with both of them. So I absolutely thank them for coming and watching this.
Awesome. And then Austin Hayes Collector says, I put $100 down that she's going to be a Derrick Henry PCer like Dakota. I'm guessing the baby, not Michelle.
Absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
you got look at all these admirers. You got Emily here saying, "Hey, coach." So
What's up?
what do you coach?
So my wife and I used to coach volleyball together at the local
Mm,
high school where we live. And Emily was on my wife's team, but my wife coached varsity. I was a JV coach, but we'd always interact with each other and help. So I was Emily's coach when she was in high school.
that's so awesome. So you coach volleyball. You also you played baseball and football,
Mm.
and you after college or during college, like you were in ROTC or like I know you have a military. You're currently military too.
Yeah, so I only did one semester of college. So when I got out of high school, I joined the military when I was 19 years old in the National Guard. So I had been in for almost 8 years now. It's been a long time,
Wow.
and I've loved it. It's been a great opportunity to serve in many different areas. I just got back from the DC inauguration, so that was a
Mhm.
very exciting opportunity to be a part of something really cool and just train. So I did that right out of high school, so that's been great. I actually played volleyball through high school as well. I would say that was probably my more dominant sport, hence why I coached it. Played professional volleyball for about 2 seasons,
Oh wow.
outdoor, and ended up tearing my knee. I
Oh
haven't
wow.
really played much since, but I've always been a big athlete and just lover of all sports.
So if you're playing is that always 2v2 outdoor like beach volleyball or are we talking like hard court?
So no, so like outdoor beach. So in Pennsylvania, kind of honestly in the DMV, and if you include Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
the grass 2v2 is like the big thing.
Grass
So I played
2v2.
grass 2v2 at what they call the open/pro level. So I
Okay.
did that with a buddy, and we travel all the time up in PA and to Maryland and just play tournaments every weekend and have fun.
Gotcha. Okay. Because I was in my head, I was thinking, you're military, you got beach volleyball, and I was thinking like Top Gun, but no, we're talking grass volleyball, no goose, no maverick, and all that.
Nope.
Okay, gotcha. So we have oh, and I forgot one more thing I wanted to ask you. That shop you were talking about. I know you said the guy sold it, but what area of the DMV was it? What was the name of it? Kind of like a posthumous shout out.
Yeah, so this was a store back in Pennsylvania in Lebanon County. It was called Kingdom Sports World,
Hmm.
and I think they still I think they have reopened a store at the York Mall now.
Hmm.
So I think it's there. I don't know how heavy they are in cards anymore, but
Okay.
I know that they I think are still there. Yeah.
So you're young enough to I don't know how mall culture is with like when you were growing up in high school. For
Mhm.
me, like I grew up in New York and I grew up in Florida. And Florida, like we got Sawgrass Mills Mall, which is like at the time it was like top 5 biggest mall in the country. By this point, it's like top 20 because all these malls are getting bigger and bigger. But shout out to anyone who remembers Sawgrass Mills Mall in Sunrise, Florida. But anyway, I know that recently, especially because again, you're from Pennsylvania. You talked about Pennsylvania. There was this show in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Car Show in Washington, Pennsylvania, and I also know some other shows like the one that you and I have been to and met at Captain Romero with his Frederick, like these malls. Oh, in Richmond, I think there's maybe another mall show. There's a lot of mall shows where mall culture just isn't what it used to be. They want to get people in there. They want to generate some traffic. It's not really heavily used on the weekend, some of them. And so there are like you've been to mall shows, right? I mean, and
Yeah.
but yours is not in a mall.
Correct. Yeah. So I've been to mall shows. I remember growing up going to the mall where if you wanted to see friends, you went to the mall on Friday night and Saturday, and that was the only place you could hang out. That was open. And I feel like the mall scene is definitely dying, like a dying breed. I think where I live, I have a Rundle Mills Mall, which has a lot of
Yes.
things. That's like the real
Yes.
big mall near me, which is always popping. But I like the idea of the mall show because it brings people to the mall. But I feel like a lot of these malls now are just dying. They're losing storefronts because it's so accessible to get on Amazon and buy exactly what you need. And
Mm-hmm.
if not cheaper, I buy off Amazon so I can, I do those things. But I think it's a cool idea. I think it works, especially for Adam at Captain Romero. But no, mine is actually at a church. I know it's not the most common scene for a card show, but that's something I'm very passionate and heavily involved in. So for me, it's as many as people are trying to get people in malls. I'm trying to do my version of where I want people to be as well. So
And let's definitely talk about that mall. I mean the church show. I won't call it the church show, but the show that's going to be in your local church area. But before we do, I want to say Q Train is saying what's up. Will either both of you be at the Nova show this weekend? He says excited for your show, Dakota, and a collector's dream. I think this is Orlando. He says hello everyone. Thank you for being here, Orlando and Ethan. Ethan was in my recent YouTube video where we opened up a box of supplies locally in this area. So, oh, and Mr. Liquid is here. These two in here are
Mr.
the
Liquid
goats. Mr.
Micah.
Liquid. Yep. Hey, no government names here. um, so I will not be at the Nova show. I have some other commitments. I won't be able to make it. Are you going to be there before we get into your show?
I had actually just texted Bailey that I will not be there this weekend.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have some things I got to do for my show, so I will not be able to make it.
Yeah. Hope it's a great time for everyone who's going. Just a little plug or shout out, I guess, to Bailey, who has been on this podcast before as a first time promoter as well. I think the different angle with Dakota here is that he's got a baby on the way, and yeah, I definitely want to talk about this show because it's in a non traditional setting with being in a church. But yeah, shout out to the Nova Card Show in Arlington, Virginia. February, what is it? Today's the 12th. I don't know. Is it 15th? I don't know. Yeah, just Google it. I don't know. Um, so the thing about a mall show that I think I really admire that I didn't realize until later is if it's a really bump and busy show, parking is so difficult, and malls just have ton of parking, right? They just have so many entries and so many exits and so many parking, a huge parking lot area. Um, as we talk about kind of like any particulars about the show that you want to talk about with, square footage, number of tables, number of vendors, the first thing I do want to ask is, well, two things: food and parking. Those are like so important for a middle-aged guy like me.
Yeah, absolutely. So this event is going to be held at Heritage Community Church in Severn, Maryland,
Mhm.
and they have a program there called the Royal Ranger Program. And what this program does is it takes young boys and kind of puts them in like a faith-based Boy Scout program to teach them what a young man should be doing and all of those skills. But it puts them in a church setting to where they can hear some good things as well about faith and about God. It's something I'm very passionate about, which is why I want to have it there and to support them. So right now we're looking at about 40 tables. Not the biggest show in the world, but Mr. Liquid's going to be set up there, and I know he's got some high end stuff. And Nova Show, the host of that, Bailey, he's going to be there setting up as well. So I'm very excited. I'll have vendors from your budget friendly dollar bins up to your high end, case hits and all of that, and along with TCG. So we'll have Pokemon as well, possibly some Magic, and some Yu-Gi-Oh. Unsure if they'll bring it out. So I'm very excited about that. The church is a very large church. We have approximately, I think, 3 halls. So there's going to be plenty enough space. We're going to have, like I said, around 40 tables. There's going to be multiple tables for a trade zone, so that way people are able to trade as well. And the Rangers are also going to be having food and beverages for sale, to also fundraise for this program. And I think a lot of promoters are in this business to make money. So that's something I'm not really worried about at this time. So we're actually donating half of the table fee money from this show to the Royal Ranger program so they can afford new supplies for their camping trips, and to be able to put boys on these camping trips as well, to be able to go and have a good time with other boys their age and learn good things. So this show is not about me and what I'm doing, but it's all about the Royal Ranger program and what they're doing for young boys. And that's really why we're doing it.
There is so much great stuff in there to unpack. Thank you so much. I mean, I definitely don't like to get political or religious and all that, but it seems like clearly for you, faith is important to you, for you to do in a church. Again, not the most traditional. I think there's one I heard about in New Jersey that's in a Jewish synagogue, but for the most part, we're talking about banquet halls. We're talking about VFWs, Knights of Columbus, malls, and here a church. I For you to say that half of the table fees are going to be going towards this Royal Rangers, and I know you have some sponsors and people who are doing some giveaways, and you
Mhm.
have more people involved, and for you to say like it's not about you, that's so refreshing, because nothing against the promoters I know, because there are some excellent ones and some
Mhm.
that I'm not so certain about, but I do think that it does take a level of assertiveness to do what you're doing. And there's definitely risk involved, especially if you can't fill all the tables. But it seems like you have 40 tables, like on the smaller ends. But it seems like, again, I haven't been there yet. I definitely want to try to make it. I might have come in where I might not be able to make it that day, but there seems like there's a lot of heart to this show.
Yeah, so that has been my priority since October 1st, when I made my first post on Instagram about the show, is that I'm going to dump everything I can into this show to make sure that we get the turnout and the money raised that these boys need to go to camp. I was never afforded an opportunity to be able to join a program like this, but I hope that if I have a son one day, I want him to be able to go to camp and to be able to afford it. And if I can't afford it, the program be able to help out. So since day one, it's just been, what can I do to help this program? My in-laws are very heavily involved with the program, and I've seen my younger brother-in-law go through it and just turn out to be this amazing, respectful young man. And I think that's something our generation needs, is people to help intervene, because some parents aren't great. I'll say it, and they need a good, positive male influence in their life. I didn't really know my real dad growing up, so I wish I had a program like this to have a positive male influence in my life. And I think that's what I think probably brought most of my heart out for this, is wishing that I had that same opportunity that these boys are going to get.
I know you can't see it, but I literally have goosebumps. I have hairs come like standing on edge. Michelle says, "Bring the people to where you want them." Fantastic concept. Mr. Liquid says, "Dakota is doing most things most people are scared to do." Shout out to my guy. It's not easy. I mean, some people think, oh, you just set it up and you just see the money roll in, but there's a lot of logistics planning. There's a lot of communication. A lot of I've seen the emails. I've been part of the email threads where you're asking people to pay, and for their tables, and you got the giveaways going. Again, we can talk about C3 here in a bit. Shout out to C3 creating. Eddie here says Dakota and Denny killer combination. We will get to the food. Not that food is so important at a show, because you can get it outside. But for me, like one of my favorite things is a good meal after a show. I just love, like, just whether it's with fellow vendors or members of the public or just whatever it is. I just love that.
Mhm.
And so Michelle says, "I love this. Thanks for explaining Royal Rangers." Um, And it's interesting you're talking about a boy because I know you said you have a girl coming on the way. So you got to, cart before the horse. You got to go. You got to take it one at a time, Dakota. You got to raise a girl, and then the boy will come along the way. But I mean, honestly, when you were talking about how you didn't know your, I'm sorry, the way you said it, like biological father or
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I I as someone who has two young kids, like you always just want to give your kids a better childhood than what you had. And I haven't really talked about my family or my father and all that stuff. Maybe another time, just because I'm not in. I don't know if I'm in the right headspace to do it right now. But it is so important um, to have good male and female role models. But what you just said is so important. This recent card show that I was at the Silver Spring, the Mid Atlantic Card Show. Um, I'm still in the middle of editing the vlog that's going to come out on YouTube, and uh, it's almost like tongue in cheek, half kidding, but I was kind of like, where are all these parents? Like there are these kids running around in pack of wolves, and just like some of them are like, they have some really big monster cards, and some of them have like the dollar cards, but like I don't know. I just felt like they were just kind of like left to their own. And some kids are very well behaved when they do that. And some kids are just they're kids. I mean, like you can't expect a 10-year-old to just know exactly what to do. But like, there's things that certain kids do at shows where it really inhibits. The reason I think some people don't like kids at shows, especially if they're not supervised, is they don't have anyone telling them how to conduct business or etiquette, or like they're not being guided. They're just kind of like, oh, here, I'll drop you off, I'll see you in 4 hours. And it's like you can't tell a 10-year-old to do that and expect like perfect model behavior.
Yeah. I had some unfortunate experiences with kids without parents at a show, whereas some cards have disappeared from a table, and it sucks. It's really unfortunate, and I think a lot of that comes down, like you said, like to parenting, right? Like being there. And part of the show that I'm hosting is going to give the Royal Rangers an opportunity. I'm hooking them up with starter packs of some stuff from my dollar bin, and we're going to teach them how to trade. We're going to teach them how to look up values of cards, and we're going to teach them essentially a free lesson on how to do cards, how to look things up, how to do business, shaking a vendor's hand, or someone you trade's hand after doing a deal, because it's just the respectful thing to do. And we should probably push that to have, if it's a first time show and you don't know what you're doing, let us teach you. I feel like that's the responsibility, of being an influencer or a promoter, is to be there for people who this is their first time, and just kind of showing them the ropes and showing that we can all, be great. So
Yeah, absolutely. And you got Mr. Liquid here saying, Dakota, can I donate some cards for giveaways? I'll let you answer that.
yeah, absolutely. You have my info on Instagram. We can work something out. So
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Mr. Liquid. Shout out to you. Q Train says small shows are underrated, allows for more relationship building and a good experience. He's Ethan is very savvy and very smart, and that is very accurate. Some of my favorite shows are smaller shows where it's just more intimate. It's slower pace. I mean, it's not like transactions left and right and then like, at a breakneck speed. I'm actually one of the people who some of the people in the chat I've tried to make deals with. I'm not a fast. I'm not someone who deals like at breakneck speed. It's just hard for me. Sometimes I just need to like slow down. I want to think, and I think in this social media card show vlog, everything transactions are shown in like 90 seconds, 60 seconds, and people think it takes like just a minute to make a transaction, and that's not the case. It's just I do like slower. I like low and slow, like my barbecue.
I totally agree. I remember vividly the first time we met at Boston Quarter in Virginia,
Yeah,
and it was a kind of a mini version of a trade night. And you and my friend were trying to work out a trade, and it was not quick at all.
yeah,
It was a
yeah.
lot of comping and decisions being made, and let me think about it. So I totally agree. I like a more low and slow card show. I don't like to just rush into things, because that's when I'll make poor decisions. So I like to take my time, think about things, really do the research, because it is a business at the end of the day. Some of us are in it for collecting, which for Derrick Henry, I'm all about collecting. I'll make a quick decision, and but if it's an investment piece, I really got to take my time. So
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Kyle. I remember his name. I forget his Instagram name, but yeah, we had a fun little trade. I don't think that was the first time I met you. That was like maybe the second or third. But like I remember,
maybe.
I remember you on Instagram and all that too. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, ever since I've gotten to know you and see you in more shows, see you on Instagram, you are such a positive influence and positive light. Like I know that it's really hard as a content creator to like just stay positive. It's just I will say straight up for me, my content has turned for kind of like more either negative or realistic because a lot of stuff happens in my hobby and like I just share everything. But I really do like that you are just keeping a level head about all of this. So, thank you for that. So we have here Michelle says, Dakota, speaking of which, Dakota, you are a positive influence in many lives. It's fantastic. Oh my
Thank you.
gosh. I wish someone said that about me. Man, it's like you have like so many supporters here. Mr. Lico says it's not easy at all. Logistics are impossible. I imagine he's talking about card shows. Austin Hayes Collector says he's putting in the work and it's going to show. No pun intended. I like that. I like that, Austin Hayes Collector. Chris Sweet with a question. Dakota, is the show sold out?
So as of right now, I have, I believe, 2 tables left. So if you want them, you can message me on Instagram, and we can try to work something out. There is an event on Facebook for the Royal Rangers card show, so my Facebook is in there as well. If you want to DM me on Instagram or Messenger, either one, I should have 2 tables left right now, but depending how this video goes, who knows how quick they'll get going. So
Yeah. Shout out to Chris Sweet. Again, another local. I met him at the Frederick Mall show. And he likes Justin Herbert, despite the season they had, man. Despite the season they had. Mr. Liquid, can I be a part of the comping with you, Dakota? He says, I'd love to teach how to cross comp hidden move in the hobby. Mr.
mm,
Liquid, teach that to me. How to cross comp. I don't even know what
yeah,
cross comp
I
means.
don't. That's a new one to me, but I know Mr. Liquid is a sniper and he's good at what he does. So hey,
It's in the name. It says
we'll
liquid. Yeah.
yeah, we'll definitely figure something out to where we can get you in there.
And of course, Ethan with the I love his positivity. He says, love to hear the education aspect, positive way to grow the hobby. Ethan, 100%. That's like legit growth. That's not like the flash in the pan, sizzle, no steak. I mean, if
Mhm.
people want to just grow the hobby in like this, quick short term gain. There's cheap ways to grow, and then there's like the low and slow, and nice and steady, more steak than sizzle way to grow the hobby, and that's with through education with the entertainment. So,
Mhm.
man, you got a lot of people who are like, I would like to donate for giveaways. Austin A's collector, that's awesome. Michelle says we'll be there. I think I'm caught up with the chat now. Q Train says, and I'll let you answer this first, Dakota. What are the big teams for people in the part of Maryland that the show will be in, which is in Severn, Maryland, which you're going to have to tell us where that is because I'm not very familiar with Severn, the area of Severn,
Yeah,
Maryland.
so Severn
DC
is
teams, Baltimore or Philly?
yeah, so Severn, Maryland is kind of near Glen Burnie, Maryland. It's not super far from there. So if you're familiar with Maryland, all Glen Burnie, Pasadena, Maryland, it's all within like that 5 to 10 minute kind of area. So it's kind of a hole in the wall, not very well known. But I would say with what Austin Hayes Collector just commented, it's gonna be Orioles, it's gonna be Ravens, it's gonna be your Nationals, your Commanders, and you might find some people from Philly, Wizards for basketball, and then like Mr. Liquid says, anything that sells if it's the right, liquid card. So I mean, it depends if someone's a collector or a flipper is really what it comes down to. I personally try to stick to Ravens and Orioles now. I feel like that's what moves the best for me when
Yeah,
I set up
yeah,
the shows in
Orioles
the
for
Maryland
sure.
area.
Yep.
So that's what I try to stick to. Football, you can have more rain of quarterbacks, receivers, running back, different rain. If it's a big name, people are going to want it. Case hits. So Mr. Liquid knows what it is. So, but
Yeah, I remember for a little bit, and I know he's moved on from the team, but like Jahan Dotson was hot before like Terry McLaurin and then like Brian Robinson. I know everyone knows about B. John Robinson, but like I
mhm.
remember B. Rob Jr. and all this stuff. I mean, they're nothing now, but everything's Jaden, everything's Lamar, Derrick Henry for sure as a skill position player, but him and Saquon are so hot. But this is why I know Mr. Liquid doesn't know his basketball. No one's buying Wizards, man. No one. Bilal Koulibaly, sure. I mean, maybe a little bit, but it's Wemby or bust for the most part with ultra modern. The Wizards have what, like Jordan Poole. Are we gonna collect? Are we gonna? Who's gonna buy Jordan Poole? Who's gonna buy Kyle Kuzma? Or I'm just messing with you, Mister Liquid. Austin Hayes collectors. A shout out to my Wizards fans out there. We gotta enjoy our only wins. No, just tank. Just lose everything. Go for Cooper Flag. Just tank. 100%. I do not want them to win any more games. Q Train with a live update saying Wizards going to OT right now. Just lose the game. Don't even worry about it. This team is they need a real GM. They have a good owner. They just need a real GM, a real coach, and just I don't know. They need Cooper Flag. That's all I'll say. So C3 grading says J Pull was my PC 2 years ago. Condolences to you, Eddie from C3. Let's actually quickly talk about C3 grading because they're going to do something fun for your show, right?
Absolutely. I discovered C3 through you, Denny, actually. And it's funny, whenever I submit, I use your code. And
Yes.
So we love that. Eddie's been phenomenal. He's hooked me up with a code as well. But I always use yours anyway. I don't even know if you can use your own, but I use yours. And so Eddie's been great. He's actually C3 grading is $9 a card. If you use Denny or I's code, it comes down to $8 a card. So that's amazing. And
what's your code, Dakota?
Yeah, it's just Dakota. So, but C3 has generously donated some grading vouchers to grade with them. So they have donated 5 $25 grading vouchers, which essentially get you 3 free cards graded with them as long as you go online, set up the account. I could go on and on about all the slabs and stuff like that, but I can let you talk about that as well. So
I'm just putting in the chat right here. Or use Dakota. Yeah, my joke is just use Denny for everything, but I don't work with every company. Use Dakota for $1 off per slab with C3 grading. They will be donating 5 $25 grading vouchers. And you're going to be doing like a giveaway. Is it going to be like tickets or is it going to be like random draw? Like, how are you going to do it?
Yeah, so essentially every kid is going to get a free giveaway ticket. So the giveaway tickets are going to go towards the grading vouchers. And then I also have a couple slabs to give away. And then I also have a slab case that's going to be given away as well. So that's
you work with Panoply? It sounds like Monopoly, right? Panoply?
Yeah. So I say Panoply, and then I have another card slab case as well. That's a 2-row that's going to be raffled off. So, but yeah, C3's been great. They got the horizontal slabs. Honestly, I respect C3 so much. I've never gotten so many 8s and 9s in my life because they actually grade so true to, and very tough. So when I get a 10 from them, I know, like, I held it. I've held every 10 I've had. And it's so special when I get one from Eddie at C3. So it's been good. I got probably 10 cards there now. I'm waiting for them to come back. Come on, Eddie. No, I'm just kidding.
Hook them up with the influencer timetable, the time speed. I actually cut the video last night. I have to edit it lightly and then put it up on YouTube next week, I think. But they graded every hit from a case of blasters of premium stock hoops, and it was 68 cards. I think Dakota, you're getting about 10 of those cards because you were in the break as well. And I think C3 Eddie, I gave you a spot, and he had the Jazz, and he just returned the cards back to me. So I'm gonna give you his cards as well. I'm gonna give you some of my cards too because I also got into the break. So you're gonna have a lot of slabs and things to give away either at this show or if you want to save it for the next show. Because I do have to figure out when to meet up with you in the next 2 weeks if so that I can deliver these to you on time.
Yeah, appreciate that so much.
I am so thrilled for you for the show. Again, you said 40 tables. Some vendors have multi tables. Like, how many vendors are going to have?
So I don't know the total number of vendors. I know it's probably somewhere in the 20s. I have some vendors that are having 3-4 tables, and I have a lot with 2 to 3. I think I have probably 4 vendors with 3 tables, and then a lot with 2, a lot with 1. I have a lot of people who this is going to be their first show setting up. I remember when I set up at Lander Rips for the first time, and he's been great. So I'm just hoping to be a good promoter. I'm not actually setting up at this show. I want to focus on just being a good promoter and making my rounds to all the vendors, making sure they have water, making sure they're taken care of, and just really trying to focus on that aspect rather than, trying to grind as well. So.
There are definitely some people who do promotion and the show, and set up as a vendor. I don't know how they do it. More power to the people who do. I think people who do that probably been doing it for a while, and they kind of have like a good like not just momentum, but they have a good feel, and they it's like they know the ropes. But yeah, first show, you're gonna just walk around, make sure everyone's comfortable. You said that kids are gonna be getting the raffle tickets, not adults, just the kids.
Correct.
Okay. And you're gonna have panoply case. You're gonna have grading vouchers, cards, slabs, the galore. Um, Gary says, I keep hearing good things about C3. I'm gonna send some. Use code Dakota, Gary, if you do.
Oh, wow. Use code Denny.
DAKOTA.
Use
Yeah,
code
there you
Denny.
go. No. And then C3 says the team is blushing. Thank you guys for the kind words. Thank you, Eddie. And then there's a bunch of Wizards chat here, which is hard for me to read because it's I want to take my kids to a competitive basketball game. I don't want to take them where the game's over in the first quarter. Q Train says Alex Sarr. He was at Collector's World during the last Hobby Rip Night. I think the next Hobby Rip Night is before your next show. I think it's going to be February. If the 15th is this Saturday, I think it's gonna be the 22nd, February 22nd. And I don't want to make any promises. I may or may not be doing something for that night. I don't know. I'm in talks, but I'm excited if that is the case. Mr. Liquid says Bilal, Wall, and Beal. Look, man, there two of those three are not here anymore. um, and yeah, shout out to the Wizards fans out there. Oh my goodness. It's tough sledding, but you know what? Like true fans, which I definitely would not say I'm a true fan. I have no like NBA team. Like I love the NBA. I love the players. I love the actual individual like, but I don't have like this strong, I don't know, like I will ride or die with the Wizards. Like I can't. It's when teams are tanking and it's no, I have no childhood nostalgia. I didn't go to Washington, what is it, before the Bullets. I didn't go to Washington
Mm.
Bullet games when I was a kid. There was nothing like that. So and yes, Austin Hayes Collectors is correct. Landers shows are always great. I haven't been to one yet, but Landers Rips, shout out to you. I don't know if I'll probably tag him in this and I'll let him know. But I think he's the Glenn Burney show, right?
He sets up at the Glen Burnie show, the Slade show.
Oh,
He'll set up
Slade.
there. He sets
Okay.
up there. His is actually, I think, March 15th, I believe.
March.
He has one at the, what is it called? Marley Station Mall, I believe.
Gotcha. All right, so let's talk about the DMV's show scene, and let's talk about like this March 1st show. I'm really excited for you, and I don't think I'm going to be able to go to any shows possibly that weekend, but you have some shows that are some other people are having shows that are like direct conflict with yours. Like I don't know if you want to talk about that, but like we have so many shows. Like we are so fortunate in the DMV, which I think a lot of the people in the chat are here are from, but we literally have a show almost every single weekend for the entire year.
Mhm.
I'm hard pressed to think of it's just like nationals, Christmas, even Christmas. Like Captain Romero had like a Christmas show, but like I feel like every weekend, whether it is a Saturday or a Sunday, whether it's Northern Virginia, Southern Maryland, I don't really know of any in the DC proper. I think mainly because parking and rent can be too expensive. But I mean I have like 10 cities or towns that come to mind that have shows, and out of those 10, we just kind of rotate around.
Yeah, I totally agree that we are so fortunate that we don't have to travel super far to hit a show any weekend that you're free to go to. So I love that, especially in Maryland. I have the Glen Burnie show, I have Landers show, I have Mid Atlantic in Maryland, and Captain Romero out in Frederick, and uh, Danny Stevens with Lupton. They have a big 2-3 day show now. I've set up there. So, and it's all within around an hour distance. So, if not closer. So, it's been really fortunate. I've been to Nova to come walking by. So, it's like you said,
Yep.
super blessed to have all these shows. And regarding the March 1st, yeah. So, I have two other shows happening the same day. I have one literally within 5 miles of my show,
Oh my god.
which is the Arthur Slade show run by Leo. Great guy. They have one every single month. They run a show every month.
Mm.
Usually they're the second weekend of the month, and unfortunately they're the first, same as mine, which is okay. I think it's awesome that there's two shows literally within 10 minutes of each other. Spend a couple hours at one, spend the
Yeah,
rest
yeah,
at the
yeah.
other. So kind of double dip. So I'm kind of excited to see how that actually plays out because I have
Mhm.
friends who are setting up at both so they can
Oh,
push each other both ways. So kind of
gotcha.
excited to see how that plays out. And then Captain Romero has his up in Gettysburg. So we'll see what happens with all three of us.
That's what, like an hour away? That's not too close, is
Uh,
it?
Gettysburg for me is probably around an hour and a half. I've
Hour
been
and a
there.
half? Okay.
Great
That's not
show. Great
too
show.
close. Yeah.
Never really bought much there. I've been told
Okay.
by vendors it's a great show to sell.
Okay.
I've never really bought anything mainly.
Got
Haven't
it.
been buying
I'll
great
I'll
deals.
bleep these names out so that we don't give them free promotion.
Perfect, right?
No, I'm kidding. This is live on YouTube and replay on YouTube and podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. I never plug my thing. Anyway, it's all good. Um, Here's the thing. This is such a card rich area that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough in the national. So many people talk about the West Coast or the Burbank. So many people talk about kind of like the East Coast National in New York City and like the Jersey shows, and then you have like the southeastern area with like I don't know, just the shows that they have in the Bay Area or like Tampa and like southern, South Florida and all that. I gotta say, like this area is one of the best, if not the best, card show scene in America. I just that's I and I'm biased, I'm from the area, but I've also seen the caliber of cards, I've seen the caliber of vendors, I've seen the volume, the activity, the people, like it's just fantastic. I love this area for cards. And of course our big one, the regional tent pole is like the three times a Chantilly happens where people come from other parts of the country for Chantilly, but it's not this area is not just about Chantilly. It is a juggernaut, and I love it. I love it. And so you and I very much know quite the number of vendors and our friends who are in the chat. I mean, it's all of you. Like you all just make this place go. Like, you know, Ethan, cute, Mr. Liquid, and all these people, and all these people who are like just here to support. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't had much experience in other card shows outside the East Coast. Kind of scared to just because of
Mm.
how hyped up it is, and like you said, like the fast. We're doing transactions every 30 seconds. You don't even own a card for
Oh yeah.
like 4 minutes, and it's already
Yep.
flipped, and I'm like, wow. And I watch these happen, and I'm like, I don't want like you're elbow to elbow, in these shows, and I'm like, I don't know if I want a part of that. But
Right.
I agree with Austin Hayes. The Glen Burnie card game is very underrated. The Glen Burnie show, the dealers there. My buddy Kyle, I've seen his stock of cards, and it's just
Hmm.
unreal. I think, like you said, we have one of the most slept on card areas in the country because we don't have a massive show other than Chantilly,
Right.
which is highly respected. But we don't have anything else like the Burbank and the National. But I feel like if some of those big guys, I'm not going to shout them out. I feel like if some of those big guys who don't come out to this area, if they did, I think they'd be very surprised. And
It's their loss. Let's
yeah,
not say their names and just say it's their loss.
it's their loss.
Chris Sweet is another sweet hit cards. So many goats in the chat and on the screen. You too as well. Chris, he's a vendor that again, big Herbert collector and vendor as well. And then Mr. Liquid says Dallas and Philly are both great. I'll be at Tampa in the end of this month for the first time for me. Awesome. Hope you have a great
Mm,
show, Mr. Liquid there.
moving.
And Austin Hayes collector is definitely true. I've seen some monster crazy Orioles cards. I mean, we're talking, yeah, like Superfractors, True Reds, all of the amazing cards because people collect them. Like I
Mhm.
remember this one showcase in the Mid Atlantic Card Show where it was two showcases full of just Oriole cards, and I was just like, I made a joke with the guy. I forget if I don't know if it's gonna make the card show vlog, but I was like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm looking for some Orioles cards. Do you have any? Because it was like all gold, red, superfractor. It was like everything. It was all Gunner and all, like not just all Gunner. I'm sorry, but like Adley and like some even older Orioles and Cal Ripken. I mean, the Orioles weren't always. They've definitely had a roller coaster like a lot of teams have, but right now, young, talented, but there was such a, I don't know, a gap from like the Cal years, which was a while back, the Iron Man years. So uh yeah, so Mr. Liquid says DMV is the best. I'm a Florida boy. Austin Hayes Collector says triple auto. Ooh, yes, of course, Jackson Holiday. Austin Hayes Collector says triple auto. Henderson, Adley, Holiday, 1 of 1 was spotted at a show in Glen Burnie. Ooh, that's delicious.
That's a
That sounds
retirement card there.
that sounds like a fun card. I mean, talk about those three. But no, let's talk a little bit about again, like so you have the show coming. I want to talk a little bit about like you you knew that again your first one with you and your wife are it's along the way in 3 months. You knew in October you were going to do the show, and like how do you feel like within 2 months time you're gonna have like, and I don't know if this is gonna be your only show, right? Like maybe you'll have a show later this year, but like show, baby, card show scene going around. We can talk about how it is to be a vendor, but I mean you're gonna have so much on your hands real soon.
Yeah, so I'm feeling the stress of the promotion of the show. I'm feeling it, and it's not good for me to stress because it's going to cause her to stress, and it's not good for baby, right? But I'm super excited. I'm beyond thrilled to have all these first time things happening this year. It just really makes it a memorable year. So I'm excited. I'm thrilled. I'm counting down to when the baby comes. I'm trying to I want to show off this card. I'm trying to get this card. Graded and autographed soon. So this is a Mike Hebb rookie card from the minors. This is my father-in-law, actually,
Oh,
for when he got drafted by the Orioles in 1990. So I found it on eBay. It was the only one I could find. I spent big bucks, 99 cents on it.
whew.
So I'm going to go to my father-in-law, have him sign it because this is a card I want to be able to pass down to her. And
Oh,
just say, "Hey, this is Gramps," And I think it's pretty special and something cool that I've been able to own, pass it to her, and maybe keep that in the family. So I'm very excited for that. And then just as far as baby comes, like I'm sitting in the nursery now, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, "There's clothes everywhere. I don't even have the cribs put together, but I don't have a mattress in it." And I'm just like, I don't have sheets. I got to hang shelves. It's just I think I have a lot of time, and now I'm like, wow, it's only 3 months left, or maybe she'll come early, and then it's only 2 months left, and
yeah.
I don't have no. So that's starting to hit me too now that we mention it, and I start looking around this room like, wow, I got a lot of stuff I got to get done. So
So, for those who are only listening via podcast and audio only, yes, Dakota, he is in the nursery. It's a beautiful white room, paint. You definitely got to get that, nice coat, and like you got to get all the furniture and the accessories. It looks great. You're gonna do great. If you need any help with any of that stuff, just reach out or ask, and whether it's me or other folks, I think we'd be glad to help you out. Austin Hayes Collector says, "Don't stress. It is going to be the time of our lives." Um, it's easy to say don't stress. It is stressful, but yes, it's you are going through a very big milestone in your life, like back to back, and just I'm very 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 excited for you. I mean, it's just this is why I want to kind of keep in tabs with you throughout the year and have this long arc storytelling to see how things are going, because I don't know, you may find yourself being like, I just can't sit up at shows. I gotta, like I'm taking a step back a little bit and see how
mhm,
things are going. Like, I mean, how do you see kind of like the summer again, best laid plans,
mhm,
it's like that classic thing people say, like, man makes a plan, God laughs, that type of thing.
mhm,
But
yeah,
like how do you foresee 2025 going?
yeah. So yeah, summer is going to be wild. So my wife's a teacher, so she will have
Wow.
all summer off with the newborn. So I'm very blessed to have that opportunity,
Hmm.
and so I'm excited to see. I think that'll allow some free time come summer. And as long as I have the stock built up, it's a great source of income to be able to pay for things that are needed. So I've bought in some outfits with selling cards. Like I'm gonna show one off. Like I got a little 4th of July outfit. You
Oh,
know,
that is
yeah, we
adorable.
can show this off. So we got a little 4th of July outfit dress
Oh,
that we'll throw some pants on with
that's
too. I think they're in there.
that's so
This was
cute.
bought with a Joe Burrow rookie card. You know, so I can thank Joe Burrow for having a great year and being able to sell his card and be able to buy clothes for her. So I can't wait to tell her that when she's old enough to understand. And little things like that. So I'm hoping to be at least one or two more shows. Come summer or fall.
Yeah,
We have a vacation plan to take her to Ocean City over Labor Day. So
got
it'll be
to.
like our first vacation as a family. I'm beyond excited. I think grandparents are going to come too. So it's just going to be a super fun time. And I'm just more than anything excited. I always smile thinking about it. I wanted a girl, so I can teach her all the things about cards. And when boys try to show off cards, she'll be like, "Hey, well, my daddy's cards are better." And
Yeah,
so I'm excited for that opportunity.
that's awesome. Austin Hayes Collector says, I don't know what I would do if Dakota took a step back. Hey, you gotta make room for baby, Austin. Austin Hayes Collector, not Austin. But no, I gotta say, like, I think my audio just dropped. Uh,
I can still hear you great.
yeah, I
Go
totally disconnected my headphones. That was such a rookie move. No, I'm very excited for you. It is going to be such a whirlwind, and just enjoy that time. I guess one question I just a couple more questions, and then maybe we'll get you out, and then we'll say goodbye to the chat here as well. You guys have been very lively. Thank you so much, chat. Um, I don't like it when breakers say that, or like, "Hey, wake up, chat." It's like,
Oh
stop.
yeah.
But no, this means you're not going to go to the national. If you do go to shows, they're all going to be local. You're not planning to fly to any Fanatics Fest, national, anything like that, are you?
No, I have no intentions of doing any of that yet. I feel like we have such a great card scene here. I don't want to go and support other people's shows. I want to like I'm a big, support small business sort of thing. So I want to support our community the best I can and influence our community and hopefully that just keeps outreaching. So that's kind of where I'm at mainly. I'd love to experience the national at least once just because like the hype of it. It's the national. Let me go
Yeah,
spend $25 to walk around and not buy any overpriced cards.
right.
So from what I've heard. And so I'd rather not do that. And the national, like when I have my 2-week training for the army, it's usually during national. So I'm never able to go anyway. So
Yeah,
until I
yeah,
get out, I probably won't be at the national ever. So unless they change it, but
right.
I
Hey, work
we'll
comes
see what happens.
first. Military service comes first. Thank you for your service. I know we talked about that 3 months ago in the Veterans Day chat, but or the Veterans Day group podcast recording, but you're serving the country, you're serving your community, serving your church, like you're just a upstanding dude, man. And I think I want to be Dakota when I grow up, I think. So
I appreciate that.
Austin Hayes collectors. This is a joke about the breakers or the streamers. This is not a $50 card, chat. I love it. They yell. I love when these breakers just browbeat their. These spots should be going for $100. Like, what are you doing? Wake up! You're sleeping. Yeah, those people are probably not serving their community, and nothing against them. Maybe they are, but Dakota's doing things the right way. Doing things the right way and growing is really hard. It's tough sledding, but we're all rooting for you. Again, I'll definitely keep you updated as to my availability. I at least wanted to uplift the show, for you, with you. When I found out that as part of it's going to charity, even if it wasn't, like I get good vibes from you, Dakota, and I have been for a while. So, I think in 2025, I've said this multiple times, but I'll continue to say it because we're only in February. But I want it this year to be about awesome experiences, cool cards, and good people. And you're definitely good people.
Definitely appreciate that, man. I feel the same way about you. From when we first met, you were super supportive, and I thought you were like the most famous person ever on Instagram when I followed you because I kept seeing your content. And I remember asking you for a picture. I'm like, let's get a picture, Denny. And
Yeah.
you signing your sticker on my card case. It
That
was an
was so
honor to
funny.
be the first autograph, and now I've done that for Austin Hayes Collector. He asked me to sign a sticker for him. There it is.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
it's been pretty cool. So you've definitely
Oh,
had an influence on what I'm doing. So
I just want to help, and I just want to document and have a good time with folks. And I think that when people see, like, people see that some people hate the social media side of me, and that's more power to them. They can hate all they want, but it's more of like, I'm just, if you don't like me, you don't like me. If you do, you do. But it's more of like, I'm always going to just be me. And yes, sometimes I post so much that it can't help but see my face. Sometimes I get sick of my own face, and I gotta do all this editing and all this, but you know what? It's so much fun. This really is all supposed to be for fun. That's what the cards are supposed to be about. It's about kinship, friendship, fun, and just so let's just keep it rolling with that, with your show. Again, March 1st, Severn, Severn. It's
mhm.
like seven, but with an R. Severn, Maryland, at I have it up in the chat somewhere. Something Heritage Church.
Heritage Community Church, yes.
Heritage Community Church. Let me put that back in the chat here. Heritage Community Church, Severn, Maryland, card show, March 1st, 2025. I forgot to ask. Is there an admission, or like what is that? What is going on with that again? Like
Yeah, so this is a free admission show.
free admission.
Everyone is welcome, and it is from 9 to 1. It's kind of a shorter show,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to be a great time. And I didn't even touch the raffles yet. We just touched giveaways, right? I want to throw that in here while we're out here. So
Yeah.
we have raffles where 100% of anything that is raffled off is going to the Royal Ranger program. So I will not see a dime of that. We have 4 Aberdeen Ironbird tickets going out for raffle.
What
We
is
have
that? I'm
so they
sorry.
are an Orioles affiliate team. They
Oh,
are the
minor league
single A
baseball.
team.
Got it.
And then we have 4 of the now renamed Chesapeake Bay Sox, formerly Bowie Bay Sox.
Oh, yeah. I
They
remember.
are the Orioles AA team. We have 4 tickets from them and an autographed Pat Sajak bobblehead. It's pretty cool.
What? Wow.
So
Wheel of Fortune.
yeah, and it has a comp on it of $40. I'm like,
Wow.
wow, that's
Hey.
pretty wild. So we have that going out. We have a 2-row slab case with PSA sleeves, SGC sleeves, and CGC sleeves from Card Capsule. They have
Okay.
generously donated a 2-row case and all of those sleeves. That will be raffled off as well. And then I have a good friend of mine who does memorabilia who is surprising me with a package. And he said, hey, I want to give you stuff to raffle for this show since I can't make it. So I have some form of basketball memorabilia coming and 2 football items. I don't know if they're
Wow.
helmets, if they're jerseys, but those are going to be raffled off as well. And 100% of that
Woo.
money is going straight to the Ranger program. So I have plenty of giveaways, especially with cards from everyone in the chat, from Denny, from C3, and
Yeah.
a million raffles. I've never seen a card show with this many giveaways or raffles. So
That's incredible.
super excited.
So final things from the chat. Thank you. Mr. Ligo says I got my matching autographed Danny and Dakota stickers. That's that's awesome. So I'm gonna get you out on this question. Whether
Wow.
I make it or not, 10-minute driving radius of your show, best place to eat.
Oh, that's such a great question. Oh man, 10-minute radius. I feel like you're gonna have to hit like 13 minutes to get somewhere.
Okay, 13,
Um,
15-minute radius.
so my favorite place would probably be what is called Green Turtle. I'm
Oh
obsessed
yeah.
with their crab dip, so I
Yeah.
love their
Oh yeah.
crab dip. They have good buffalo chicken dip, and they make their own ranch. I like chicken tenders and fries as well, and they make their own ranch there. Love their ranch, so that would probably be my go-to. So
Shout out Green Turtle. Yeah, I definitely remember them. They're yeah, like the whole Maryland and all that. I, I think they had one in like the Capital One Arena, now called Capital One Arena. But yeah, shout out Green Turtle, not a sponsor of this podcast. But C3 affiliate for both Dakota and I. Again, use code Denny or Dakota for $1 off your slabs. I definitely want to do some content about the difference between sponsorship and affiliates, because I think some people get confused about that.
that'd be great.
But thank you. I hope you have a wonderful show. Again, I really hope I can make it, and I just hope that it's just. I have no doubt that it's going to be a fantastic show. And thank you, chat, for being here. You guys are excellent. And this will be the first of hopefully many other times you're going to be on, where we just keep you updated. Well, you keep us updated about just how things are going.
Yeah. Thank you to the chat for being so lively on a just absolute late night on a weeknight.
Yeah.
So I appreciate everyone for the support in the show, and Denny and I for doing this. And I'm just really excited to see where this year goes and how the show goes and updating everyone. So it's going to be a great time.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Says thank you for featuring Dakota. And C3 Grading says use both codes at the same time to pay full price. What a way to end it. Thank you all so much. That was episode 107. Austin Hayes, you collector, you've been great as well. Hope you all have a great time in the hobby. Maybe see you March 1st or maybe see you earlier, but hope everyone enjoys a great time in the hobby. Take care.